So welcome to All About Symbian's coverage of the Smartphone Show 2008. Rafe's here. Say hello, Rafe.
Hi guys.
Say hello, Ewan.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the show.
And there are some great video interviews and features coming up. Here's one right now.
This is a freeway demo. Last year, as you might remember, we demonstrated bearer mobility on the FreePlane's architecture.
Okay.
And that was basically just transferring between the Wi-Fi and Ethernet connection. This time we've done a bit further. We're doing between a Wi-Fi call and GSM, circuit switch GSM.
Okay.
So the scenario is you might be at home, you want to make a call, you're using your Wi-Fi because it's nice and economical, as it were. So we got our little demo phone here. We're connected to the Wi-Fi access point at the moment. And so let's dial a call. This is going over the IMS, it's an IMS call going over the IP network. Now I'm on the other end. Would you like to listen to the quality?
Okay.
So we're talking over Wi-Fi today. It's a little bit crackly maybe because of all the access points, but it's doing okay. So now the scenario is maybe we want to go outside, walk to work. So as we walk outside, we're going to move away from the access point, so the quality of the signal will degrade, and the hardware will decide it needs to swap over to GSM. So I just simulate moving away, and as the Wi-Fi access decreases, the software will choose to switch to GSM. And now we're speaking on a GSM call. You probably noticed the difference in quality.
Indeed.
Today GSM is better. When Wi-Fi is working better, the quality on Wi-Fi is actually nicer. And then maybe you get to work, you reach your access point, so you want to switch back onto a Wi-Fi call. So if I simulate that here, in a few seconds we'll go back onto a Wi-Fi call. Now we're back to the Wi-Fi quality.
And you're still hearing him?
I'm still hearing him, yeah.
Okay.
And at no point has this call been terminated. This is a normal handset. All the clever software is on the board and on Cisco Network's back-end server software.
Okay, that's great. This has been Chris Notton of Symbian, demonstrating FreePlay. What about the radiation to your brain and the brain cancer that happens from all the radio waves?
I don't know.
So I'm here with Michael Glenn, who's from VirtualLogix, and I have to confess I've never heard of you. Why are you here this week, this year, and what are you announcing today?
Okay, so what we do is virtualization software. So it means that it's a piece of software that sits between the hardware and the operating systems and provide a virtual view of the hardware to different operating systems. So what it does is that it allows you to run several operating systems, not just one, on a single piece of hardware. So what is good for you?
Okay.
Right? So why are we here today? You know, it sounds like weird. So what this does here in Symbian is that it allows, for example, to run the Symbian OS and Linux on a single platform. So this way you can benefit from whatever you want to do and use from Linux within a Symbian environment, or the other way around. If you have a Linux environment and applications, you could use some software that has been developed for Linux, for Symbian.
So it's not even switching between the two OS?
It's not, no, they run in parallel, they run together on the hardware.
Okay.
And for example, one of the interest is that there's a lot of new hardware peripheral that are coming up on those devices. And usually they come up first with a Linux driver. Right? And then when you want to run them on Symbian, then you need to develop the Symbian driver. And if you have Windows Mobile, you have another Windows Mobile driver.
Okay.
So with virtualization, one of the benefits could be that you could start using your Linux driver from a Symbian environment or from a Windows environment.
Is this virtualization product, is this something that the manufacturers would have to build into the firmware?
That is something that the semiconductor vendor could provide on top of their hardware, and that the manufacturers could use to re-architect their software in order to be decoupled from the current tight integration of the operating systems to the hardware. What virtualization does is that it separates the hardware management from the application management within an OS. Right? And the application management could be provided by one OS like Symbian, and the hardware management could be provided by another OS like Linux.
From a user's point of view, would they then see the different elements of Linux?
From a user point of view, there are several things that may happen. First of all, that allows to run some high-level operating systems like Symbian or Linux on cheaper phones that are using a real-time OS to support a wireless stack.
Yeah.
So today on the low-end feature phones, everything is done on a proprietary OS.
Yeah.
So what we've done, we have put virtualization to support the real-time OS for supporting the wireless stack, and having Linux to support the application environment.
Yeah.
So for the user, it means you have a high-end, full-feature internet browsers on Linux running on a low-end phone.
Does it mean that users can research particular Linux vertical applications and effectively install and run them on a Symbian, a nominally Symbian phone?
That's right. That's another interest, is that now you can have, say, the Google Android application stack running on a Symbian phone next to the Symbian applications without having to port Android onto Symbian. So the main advantage for the manufacturers is that they can have a much more flexibility in using their software stacks and arranging software, developing new products with new services without having to port everything on different, without having a hard dependency on the operating system.
Have you got a demo handset or something that demo hardware?
We have actually. This is a prototype low-end feature phone.
Okay.
That is supporting Linux as the main environment. At the cost of typically $50, $60 retail price for a mobile phone. So normally this phone would run a proprietary OS with a proprietary application environment and with Java for applications.
Yeah.
In this case, with virtualization now, we run the Linux environment with a full Linux stack and a full Linux internet browser next to the real-time OS that supports the 3G stack. So this is a 3G phone with full-feature multimedia capabilities and using virtualization to reduce the hardware bill of material by avoiding having several processors to run, one for the stack and one for the open OS. Everything runs on the same hardware.
And in future that might be Symbian OS and Linux.
And that could be the Symbian OS or the Symbian OS and the RTOS on a cheaper phone.
Yeah.
Right? So you can have Symbian now going to more low-end phones than it is today. Today is mostly focusing on the high-end smartphone.
Okay.
So you go more lower phone, and then you can have combination of Symbian and Linux, or you have a Symbian phone with a Windows, Microsoft .NET service, for example, or things like that.
Okay, thank you very much. This is Michael Glenn of VirtualLogix, virtuallogix.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.